Hello, ladies and gents, and today I'm making a video on my top gateway albums for, people who aren't aware of metal, because this is gonna be a metal video. Yeah, my top metal gateway albums. And few things to address before, you know, delving into this. I'm not gonna make a video for a while just because I want to improve the overall atmosphere of these videos as well as improve how much time it can be and the quality of it. I want to make a documentary on this channel eventually, so yeah, one thing to keep in mind, as well as this won't be in order. All these albums won't be in order. They're just, albums I could think of on the top of my head. So the first album that comes to mind is System of a Down's Toxicity. I think this album is brilliant because not only did it talk about the social climate back in the 2000s, not get too much in the political side of things, but it managed to blend two things really well, the best of both worlds. Screams, like death metal growls and screams, as well as some harmony, because songs like the Prison song especially managed to blend in those elements, as well as Chop Suey. I mean, Chop Suey just like throughout the song, it is heavy, but it gradually blossoms into this beautiful chorus, you know, a song about suicide, and it somehow manages to be beautiful. It evokes something out of me, out of the listener. And that's all I can really say about it. Their albums following this are are still good. Not better, but still good. And if you want to get into something heavier and more just, brutal, listen to the album before this, their, debut. It's really good. Especially the song Sugar. Sugar. Now, the next song, or not next song, the next album I can think of is Ice Nine Kills' The Silver Scream. This album is really cool because it manages to appease two different audiences, two different target audiences, the horror fans and the metal fans. And for those who don't know, in the Silver Scream, it's obviously about movies. So each song is about a movie. Like there's a song about Jaws rocking the boat, as well as there's a song for Shining. There's a song for, the song Stabbing in the Dark is about Michael Myers. There's even a song about, Freddy Krueger, or, Nightmare on Elm Street, and just more movies in general on this album. There's also Silver Scream too. So if you end up enjoying this album, there's a lot of catchy songs with some cool cheesy parts. But if you enjoy that type of music, there's a second Silver Scream. There's a follow up, and it's still really good. I think the original Silver Scream's better, just because it manages to actually have a little bit of seriousness despite that cheesiness. Because I think Silver Scream 2 has way too much cheese, but the original Silver Scream, it manages to blend in those two themes of cheesiness, but a lot of horror and just, intensity. So that's why I love that album. It manages to combine those things, encompass that. So great album. And Spencer's a great vocalist. He's all over the place on that album. But next album I can think of, another metalcore album, since Ice Nine Kills, by the way, is metalcore, is Spiritbox's Eternal Blue. Now, Eternal Blue, it manages to blend a lot of pop elements because there's a female singer, but she manages to give off brutal vocals too, like Holy Roller in that case, as well as other tracks like Halcyon, I think, something along those lines, as well as Yellow Jacket with the singer Sam from Architect. So, yeah, great album, manages to have some beautiful pop songs too, like I said, with songs like We Live in a Strange World and the title track, Eternal Blue. It just manages to deliver kind of what System of a Down did back in the early 2000s with Toxicity. It manages to have the best of both worlds of heavy vocals as well as pop elements. So it's really cool. Give it a listen. You won't regret it. Now, another album is kind of stereotypical because you could argue it's Stranger Things core, is Metallica Master of Puppets. I wanted to include this even though they're still big, but they're big for a reason, because songs on the album like, Damage Inc., obviously the title track as well as Battery are just such great bops. This is like the one really classic album on this list, and good reason too. It's just great songs. I'm not even the biggest Metallica fan anymore, but I still respect them a lot. I wasn't sure if I was going to put Slayer here or Megadeth, but if you like Metallica, you know, I recommend listening to Megadeth because they're slightly heavier at times, and then Slayer because they kind of tread some black and roll elements as well as just, heavy thrash. So I recommend those guys once you manage to ease into Metallica more as well as metal in general. My number one spot has to be Kill Switch Engage's End of Heartache. There are a couple of reasons why I include them on this list because they're one of the first big metalcore bands for good reason. Not only that, they have a song, the title track, End of Heartache, is one of the first metal songs I've ever heard. I remember listening to it in fifth grade or fourth grade because it was in the Resident Evil 4 soundtrack, not the video game. Sorry, gamers, the movie. I know you guys hate those movies, but they're good simply because of the soundtracks. Because the first movie even has a Slipknot track, My Plague, on it, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's just End of Heartache's a great song, and the rest of the tracks are good too. Rose of Sharon, and their other albums are good too, but I think Howard, this is his magnum opus, is this album. And yeah, that's really it. Some honorable mentions may include Slipknot's All Hope Is Gone. There's a lot of bops in there too. There's a lot of soft songs like Snuff, which even has Malcolm McDowell in the music video, which is pretty cool from Clockwork Orange. But yeah, Psychosocial is a bop. It'll definitely help you ease into metal. It sold me whenever I was listening to metal. I was, completely on board after listening to it. But yeah, one other album I could probably think of is any Architects album, later ones, not the earlier ones because they're a little too heavy. But yeah, as well as just, like I said before, Slayer and Megadeth. Those are kind of all honorable mentions. But yeah, thanks for listening and tuning in on this video. Hope you really enjoyed it because I'm very passionate about metal. Um, and I've been even trying to do some scream vocals. I'm not really good at it because I don't know a lot of techniques, but I need to study up on that too. But I've been focusing on a lot of other things in my life lately, like, college and, what I'm interested in general when it comes to hobbies. So yeah, thanks for just listening in and hear me rant, and peace out, guys. And by the way, if you want me to make a metal playlist, let me know down in the comments. Now, my next video might be about my favorite trap metal artists, just because I like some of that, like City Morgue. But let me know if you're interested in that too. But thanks for listening, and peace out, guys.